Hey, good morning to everybody. It's Daryl P, aka Artist in Recovery here. And I would usually probably be doing this video out on my morning walk, like yesterday. I talked to you guys about acetaminophen and Trump's lack of vocabulary. But it's pouring rain outside today, so I'm going to do it in here. There's a few things I want to cover and talk about, like today's spoken word. I talked about YouTube caving into Trump, and I'm going to tell you guys a little more about that, and I'll put some links down below. Before I do that, I did a video yesterday talking about how I like to read, and I glanced around my place here, and I found a few of my books, and I got a lot of comments on TikTok about it from other readers. I got like 130 likes, almost 1,000 views on it, so it did very good on TikTok. On YouTube, conversely, it got 40 views. 40 views on YouTube and almost 1,000 on TikTok. I'm really starting to think that YouTube is being taken over by conservatives. And even more about what I'm going to talk about now, about YouTube caving into Trump. Here, let me show you some of the books here. Like I said, I love Stephen King, Dean Koontz, some of the stuff I've read. But I didn't mention, I love Miyaku. I have a hard time pronouncing this guy's name. Miyaku Kaku. He's a physicist, astrophysicist, I believe. And I love it's real science. Edgar Allan Poe, some of my favorite poems. Jules Verne, love this dude. Isaac Asimov, I forgot to mention him. Robert Louis Stevenson, some of my favorites. Okay, enough about reading. Okay, so let me describe this to you. Like I said, I did the spoken word video this morning. Here's what I was talking about. I'll try to put the link down to this below, but you could Google it yourselves. Jesse Waters on Fox News was talking about the UN, and Jesse Waters being such a bootlicker and Trump-loving toady that he is, he was so upset because the escalator stopped. Now, I'll get into what really happened in a second. And the teleprompter wasn't working, and Trump complained about this. You know, the only thing that the UN has given me is a bad teleprompter and a bad escalator. This is what happened, supposedly. It was White House people working both the escalator and the teleprompter, and they're the ones that screwed up. It wasn't like the UN. And supposedly with the escalator, they meant to stop it so that there was no Mrs. Trump wouldn't fall with her high heels or whatever, and they couldn't get it going again. Now supposedly that's what happened. Now Jesse Waters, being the bootlicking toady that he is, he got so upset, that Mr. Trump was King God Trump was displeased with the escalator and the teleprompter. Jesse Waters actually says, maybe we should just bomb the UN. Or no, maybe we should gas it. And then he said, then one of the other ladies on Fox News said, maybe we should turn it into affordable housing. She was trying to be the voice of reason. And Jesse Waters goes, no, I like nice, expensive housing. You could see the river from there. And you see what kind of ass Jesse Waters is. And I was wondering, is he trying to push the limits of free speech by, talking about bombing and gassing the UN in New York City? Or was he flagrantly showing that, as a right-wing conservative, he can get away with saying violent rhetoric about the UN, that he can get away with it? Was he kind of rubbing it in our faces a little bit? Like, look at the stuff I could say. Was it some kind of payback for Charlie Kirk? Is he just freaking demented? Is he just a bootlicking toady? Or is it all the above? I'd probably vote for all the above. Okay, now, YouTube. This is what's going on. Apparently, YouTube is caving in to the Trump administration. There is an investigation by Trump's Senate, Congress, into how Biden influenced social media, supposedly. And this had to do with the election, misinformation, and COVID. Now, I could understand why, back when this was actually happening, why the administration and why actual platforms would be nervous, because the more rhetoric that came out, the more people were going to get hurt, physically hurt by this kind of talk. Again, it goes back to, can you yell fire at a crowded movie house, in a crowded theater? Is that free speech? That's exactly where we're at right here. And I have a very personal stake in this. I'll get to that more in 1 second. So YouTube sent a letter to Jim Jordan, who is the head of this investigation, saying that YouTube is now letting creators back on who were banned. And one of them is Robert F. Kennedy. He was banned from YouTube for his, go figure, COVID vaccine misinformation. And now he's the head of freaking Health and Human Services. What a freaking dystopian, Orwellian nightmare we're living in right now. I could understand why these people were taken off the air, taken off. We actually had a violent overthrow of the government with Trump urging it on, with January 6th. And I could understand, the social media platforms kind of backing away from that stuff. So people, you wouldn't have people actually bombing and gassing, like Jesse Waters was, You can see where this stuff is headed. Okay, now, and with the vaccine. Now here's where this is very personal to me. Like I said in the rhyme, Audrey, my soulmate, we were boyfriend and girlfriend in 3rd grade. We were like the class couple in 3rd grade. We went out for like 3 years. We were the first boyfriend and girlfriend. We went our separate ways through high school, through college. She got married. I got into drugs and alcohol. She got into alcohol. 30 years later, we ended up living in the same city. We were both clean and sober, and we found each other again, and we fell back in love, and we were going to get married. Big thing was, she was a hardcore Trumper. Her whole family was conservatives. Didn't believe in the vaccine. They believed all that rhetoric about, the vaccine was evil. And I am the opposite. I am a tried and true, tree-hugging, electric car-loving, windmill-hugging, freaking liberal. And it caused some trouble in our relationship. But Audrey refused to get vaccinated. Me, on the other hand, I've been vaccinated. Here's my vax card. I've been vaccinated at least four times, 5. Okay? And that was 4 years ago. I am healthy as a freaking horse. Every single day I get up at 2 a.m. I make videos. Then I work out with weights for an hour. Then I go on a 3-mile walk. Then I come back and I do 7 miles on the treadmill. Then I do some more weights. And then I go for a 15-mile bike ride every single day. I'm kind of obsessed with exercise and working out. It's my new addiction. Since I've been clean and sober for 19 years, I'm kind of now addicted to working out. So I consider myself very healthy. I'm almost 60 years old. I pedal uphill for like a good solid two miles straight uphill every day. And my heart is, knock on wood, as solid as a rock. I got vaccinated 4 or 5 times. Audrey refused to get vaccinated. She contracted the Delta variant of COVID when she went down to Jacksonville, Florida. It was exploding in that area back in June of 2021. And she drove right into it. And within a day, she was sick. She was in the hospital. She was in ICU a week later, intubated, and I never talked to her again. She freaking died. She died a horrible freaking death. Nobody was able to visit her. She died alone, intubated. Apparently she got MRSA while she was in the hospital. It's probably almost better that I didn't see her, because I can't even imagine what she looked like at that point. But she died because she directly believed vaccine misinformation. These people are getting this information mostly from an internet board that is open to anyone. Like I could go in there right now and say, I got the vaccine shot and I grew a third arm out I grew a third arm, or I got, I turned purple, and they'll post it. And that's where these people get this information from. Anybody can post stuff there. It's a board for anyone to post. It's not any kind of scientific studies. You know, and this is the rhetoric they use. I never understood conspiracy theories, but this actually killed the love of my life. I blame them directly. YouTube now is letting these people back on the platform because they're scared of Donald Trump and because they're scared of investigations by Trump's Senate and Congress. Trump is in charge of the Senate, the Congress, the Supreme Court, pretty much everything right now. And that's where we're at. So, like I said in my video, I'm kind of looking forward to I can't stop YouTube from putting these people back on the platform, but I'm looking forward to confronting them and talking to them about this, how I got the shots. Nobody, I'm telling you this, nobody is ever going to convince me that the vaccine is bad. After I got four vaccinations and I'm healthy as a horse, and my girlfriend didn't get vaccinated and died from COVID, you're not going to, you're barking up the wrong tree here. And as far as the election, the election misinformation, I don't believe for 1 second that Donald Trump won the 2020 elections. I believe that he's an arrogant narcissist, and he just can't handle saying that he lost. He will never say that he lost. I highly doubt that he's ever going to leave the White House, building a freaking ballroom and plating everything in gaudy gold. It really looks to me like he plans on living there, or his family plans on living there for the foreseeable future. That'll be the topic of another video coming up. All right, you guys, have a good Thursday.